What's going on, everyone? So I'm really excited to see what Victor Wembanyama does in year 3. I think he's going to take some real strides, some real steps. He was already arguably a top 10, 15 player in the league. Can he clearly move into the top 5? I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking and we're like, man, this guy's a top 5 player in the league as soon as next year. Also gained a little weight, right? Has been doing all the monk stuff and everything like that, like just trying to get his mind and his body and his spirit and everything in order. I love it, right? Do what you got to do to put yourself in a position to be the best basketball player as possible out there on the basketball court. I had a little scare last season with the blood clots and stuff, but Spurs reassured, like, hey, he's fine. He's going to be good. He's going to be ready to start the NBA season. So I think he's going to be fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it. Right? What does he and De'Aaron Fox on a full season look like together? What does Dylan Harper and Victor Wembanyama, what can their relationship kind of build and grow? Stephon Castle, all of that. It's a team that could be very exciting, young, and fun to watch. But here's the thing about Victor Wembanyama. And I think San Antonio is going to have to come to the same realization that they did with Chet Holmgren, right? The Thunder came to the realization with Chet Holmgren that, like, hey, we might not be able to have him be our 5. He can play the 5 at times, but we probably need him to be our 4. Why? Because Chet Holmgren doesn't have the interior size, and we don't want him banging with the big boys regularly. 2, he wants to be more of a perimeter guy. He wants to be more finesse, right? He wants to be more KD than Hakeem Olajuwon. And that's what Wemby is. Again, I love Wemby, but the guy wants to take 10 threes a game and be more perimeter oriented and wants to be more Kevin Durant than he is. And also, again, the lack of just size and bulk for him. Supposedly put on some weight, we'll see. But do you really want Victor Wembanyama defending Jokic over a 7-game series for 40 minutes a night? Probably not, right? Like, just the wear and tear that would be. It'd be nice to have a guy just to slot in that you could play alongside him. And I know some people look at it and go, oh, Wemby can't play alongside another center. We saw it in the Olympics, and we saw it, with the Spurs. Again, it's very different when it's somebody like Rudy Gobert that can't score outside of 5 feet and is just clogging the paint the entire time. And Zach Collins, who was like unplayably bad for the Spurs, which he was surprisingly good in Chicago. It was like, where was that? If he would have been that, like what he was in Chicago here, like he might have started, right? Like he was excellent in when Nikola Vucevic was out. But again, Victor Wembanyama, he wants to be more perimeter oriented. So it'd be nice to have an interior presence, one that can bang with the big boys. 2, again, be that interior presence that you could dump down to. And 3, also be a guy that helps rebound and grab offensive rebounds and all that stuff, right? To put this in perspective, right? Because I want people to understand, right? Because I know people are going to be like, and I've seen the excuses where people are like, oh, but he, he's taking so many threes because he's trying to work on his 3 game. It's like, he could do that without taking 10 of them, right? Like, why do you need to take 10 threes a game on average? Dude, halfway through the year, he was averaging like 9.8 3-point attempts. He ended up finishing the year at 8.8. He averaged 8.8 3-point attempts, and he shot 35.2%, which isn't great. I mean, it's better than the previous year, in which he took 5.5 attempts and shot 32.5%. So there was an uptick, there was an increase. But again, like that was below league average last year. The league average was like 36 and some change. So he's under league average and took more threes than some of the best 3-point shooters in the league, right? And I'm going to break that down even further. But I don't mind. I'm not saying he shouldn't take threes. He absolutely should, right? Part of what makes him so great is his offensive versatility. But there's a limit. It's like Victor Wembanyama took 8.8 3-point attempts, right? He took 18.6 field goal attempts, period. Half of his attempts were threes. This guy is, 8'12" with a 22-foot wingspan and go-go gadget extended arms, and half of his field goal attempts were from 3. That's not counting all the pick and pop, 15-footers, free throw line extended, little elbow shots. I mean, more than half of his attempts were outside of the paint. Again, that's your center. How do you have him be your center and do that? I don't think you can do that. I don't think that that's realistic to expect, to have your center take more than half of his attempts. Now, if he's taking 20 field goals a game, right, and 5.5 of them, right? Like basically what he did his first year, and 5.5 of them are threes, then fine. Perfect, right? That makes sense. Given that, like a quarter of your attempts are threes. Sure. But Again, that's not what it was. Also, if Wemby was like 43% from three-point range, then sure, Karl Anthony Towns is a career 40% three-point shooter and is arguably the best big man three-point shooter ever. Right? Like the guy is like lights out shooting the basketball. And the most he's ever taken in a career is like under 6. Right? Like Wemby's shooting half, like literally 10% worse than what Karl Anthony Towns was shooting and took 3 more attempts, almost double the attempts. That's crazy. I mean, Steph Curry only averages like 11 attempts a game, and he's the greatest. I'm talking about threes, and is like the greatest three-point shooter ever. Wemby took 2.2 fewer. That's crazy when you really break it down to that degree. And again, I understand that. Again, okay, let's say you're right, and they are just trying to work on it for his shooting and stuff. At what point do you go, okay, like now we need to cut back and actually get back to regular basketball? But again, I'm not saying he can't shoot and he shouldn't shoot and he shouldn't do all those other things. I absolutely think he should, right? Like, but again, everything in moderation, right? There are extremes. Again, like here, let's really break this down, right? Because I do think that this is important. Karl Anthony Towns, for his career, three-point shooting, exactly 40%. On 4.3 attempts. Last year, Karl Anthony Towns took 4.7 attempts from three-point range. Literally half of what Victor Wembanyama shot. And shot 42% from three-point range. 42%. The previous year took 5.3, which is still less than Victor Wembanyama, and shot 42% from three-point range. That is crazy, right? Okay, let's look at Steph Curry, because I brought up and mentioned Steph Curry, right? What does Steph Curry do? Right? Okay, well, let's look. Last year, he took, on 18 attempts, he took from three-point range. He took 11.2 attempts. 11.2 attempts. He shot 39.7% from three-point range. He, for his career, is 42.3% from three-point range on 9.3 attempts. That's only 0.5 more than Wemby is averaging. Like, that is crazy. Again, Wemby took 8.8 last year. Steph Curry took 11.2. Literally took, 2 more attempts from three-point range? That is, I don't like it personally. I get we're in the new age stretch of, I'm not one of those guys where it's like, oh, we need traditional bigs back to the basket, right? Like, man, this is the problem with today's NBA, right? No, like, shoot the three. Again, I encourage it. I want him to be a do-everything, legit 3-level scorer. I want that. The Spurs need that. They need him to be able to be whatever you need me to be offensively. If he just took 2 fewer field goal attempts, he would have been nearly a 20-point-a-game guy, just based on his 2-point average, right? Like, he would have been 27, I think it was 27, 28 points per game if he took if 2 of those threes were 2s, right? Or half of those attempts, sorry. If he made 2 more. Right? Half of his attempts. He would have been like I think it was like a 27-point-a-game guy, which is no reason he shouldn't be. Right? So, again, and this is the thing that OKC learned. Right? That's the thing that OKC had to kind of come to the realization to. Right? But they just saw it quicker. Right? They realized, like, we can't use Chet as our center. And they went and got Isaiah Hartenstein, and it changed them. They just won a championship because of it. Because they realized, like, Chet Holmgren wants to shoot 8 threes a game, and he wants to be more perimeter-oriented. Yeah, we can have him at the center at times and go small and do all that stuff. That's fine. But we also need that guy that can come in and slot in and be the center slotted in alongside a Chet Holmgren, right? I think that's the same realization the Spurs are going to come to. Whether it's this year, next year, whatever, I think eventually you're going to look and you're going to go, you know what? I think we're going to need a center. Right? And look, maybe it's just a backup where maybe he's not necessarily starting, but he's playing, 20, and Wemby's playing 20 minutes at the forward position. Look, it's not something that I'm saying without a doubt. Like, if Spurs are never winning anything, if Wemby's playing the 5, no, it's nothing like that. I just looking at the numbers, looking at kind of what this team needs, and what you look at a team like OKC came to the realization and whatnot, I think the Spurs are going to have to come to the same realization, right? That we need a center. And again, maybe it's not a starting center. Maybe it's just a quality backup. Maybe it's a backup that could arguably be a starter. So, you're playing him significant minutes with Wemby at the 4. All of that. We'll see. Time will tell. But Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.